In the world of spiritual counseling and relationship work that we do, there's a term that we use called crazy making when we're doing relationship counseling, and it's a pretty powerful word. We don't use it that often unless there is really justification for it, and I want to talk about that today because it seems more and more in our society that there is a lot of crazy making out there in love relationships. Hi, I'm David Essel. So crazy making is the term that's used when an individual will come in and they'll be talking about their partner and they'll just go, I don't understand what's going on. One moment he's saying this, that he wants this kind of a relationship, and then the next moment he's saying that that really isn't what he wants this, and it's the yo-yo effect. It's the yo-yo, an unbelievable yo-yo effect. Or I've had clients come in where they've said, I just can't figure out my girlfriend, what's going on. Is that I'll be calling her on her way to pick up her kids and she's in the school line and we're talking and we're saying how much we miss each other and we can't wait to see each other the next day, and that'll go on for several days and everything's cool, and then all of a sudden one day I'll call and she'll say, like, what are you calling me for? I'm sitting in the line waiting to pick up my kids from school. And it's like this whole, holy cow, what just hit me? That's crazy making. Another example of crazy making is that I worked with a couple not too long ago where that everything that the woman was saying to the guy was just eating up. It was awesome, that she couldn't wait to be with him more and spend more time with him, and she was looking at creating a really deep, serious relationship, and that the way he touched her was so soft and gingerly, and that she hadn't been made love to this way in her whole life, and that she hadn't had someone that could really respect her and listen to her, and all of these things were making him feel just on top of the world. And then all of a sudden, from out of the blue one day, he got an email that stated all these things that he wasn't doing. That he was too rough with her during intimacy, and that there wasn't the connection that she'd been telling him. She felt this incredibly deep connection, and she said, she's looking for a relationship that offered a deep connection, and she wasn't feeling it with him, and the list went on and on and on. All these things that she had verbally said to him that you're doing right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, he gets an email saying, do you know what, the 6 things about this relationship that isn't working for me, and it was basically the same stuff. And that's what's called crazy making. And crazy making in a relationship can come from several different venues. And we can talk about this from a male or female perspective. It can come from a distrust of the opposite sex. It can come from emotional or physical abuse in the past, and that might be something that happened when the person was a child, or it could be something that happened while they were an adult in other relationships. So abuse, mental or physical abuse as a child or as an adult, if someone has gone through that and hasn't worked through it, hasn't healed, hasn't forgiven, hasn't moved on, they can bring that fear into a new relationship. Another reason that people do this crazy making stuff is intense insecurity. So they're open, they feel vulnerable, they feel wonderful while they're with that person, like everything is just great, they have this awesome energy going, but then when they get to be by themselves, their own insecurity comes to the surface, and they start in their own mind to spin and to reel all over the place. They'll often reflect back to other relationships that didn't work, or other relationships that started off really great, but then they got to a point where that they blew up. So in their mind, they're spinning. The crazy makers are spinning. Their vulnerability it's too much. It's too intense to be this vulnerable. Their insecurities start to come to the surface. And then what happens in crazy making more often than not is called projection. And this is the most intense thing for the partner who isn't part of the crazy making, is that they start to be projected upon. And projection means that the reason this isn't working is you here, you there, and you there. They start pointing the finger and saying that the projection is you. So now, if we have someone who's really fallen for someone else, or they've been in this relationship for, it could be anywhere from a month to 4 or 5 years, and they've opened themselves and they've given their heart, the crazy making can put them on a spiral, a spin, a roller coaster that can actually keep them stuck. If they're not really healthy in their own and grounded in their own heart space, then the person who is being affected by the crazy making can actually become addicted to that chaos and insanity. So they'll do whatever it takes to calm the person down, get back on this even playing field, they'll take a big breath and they'll go along for a day, a week, a month, and just when things start to feel settled, which scares the heck out of the person who does the crazy making, the person who's involved with the crazy making stuff will just act out again and throw something into the fire to keep things all crazy. Oftentimes the crazy makers themselves are addicted to chaos, and they're addicted to the crazy lifestyle that they maybe grew up in. It could be in their family, or as I said, maybe they were in a long-term relationship where all it was chaos, so they became used to that. Now listen to this. This is where love equals chaos. And if there isn't chaos in a love relationship, the person, the crazy maker, feels too vulnerable, too insecure, so they'll create the chaos to feel normal. Isn't that amazing? Now, the one caution I want to give you here is that the person who's being affected by the crazy making, they cannot figure it out, and they shouldn't spend a lot of time trying to figure it out because it cannot be figured. This is the truth. When you're with a crazy maker and they're going all over the place, and one week things are great and the next week the same thing you're doing isn't working, there's no way you can figure it out. And in my work, spiritual healing and relationship healing, we try to move the person away from trying to figure it out, and instead, if they want to stay in the relationship, start to set stronger and healthy boundaries. And if they can't do that, then they may have to make that decision to leave. But even after they leave, the aftercare, the healing for the quote-unquote normal person in this relationship has to be very strong, and they have to stay away from trying to figure out, what did I do wrong when you're with a crazy maker? You know, the crazy makers can often have borderline personality disorders. They can have undiagnosed conditions like bipolar. There can be all kinds of abuse reactions. Past emotional abuse in relationships, past physical abuse can come out in this crazy making activity unbeknownst to them. They don't even know why they're doing it themselves. The bottom line is that the person who's creating the craziness needs to get help, get out of relationships, get out of the dating scene until they're fully healed. And we do that in the work that I do here. And the person who is a victim of it, let's say, they need to be setting healthy, clear boundaries, basically move away from that type of relationship. They need to stay out of relationship too until they've gone through the healing process. If I can help you, or if you know friends that are in that kind of relationship, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, they're extremely common in this day. Have them contact me at talkdavid.com, either you or your friends. talkdavid.com. For 20 years we've been working in this world of crazy making and helping people in relationships heal, and then we'd love to help anyone who's in need of it. Don't forget to sign up here at YouTube so that at Super Slowdown account, so every new one we put goes directly to your YouTube account, and share this video with as many people as you can. I'm David Essel. Have an awesome day. Bye now.